Hi peeps, it's Mishka here. So today, let's focus on the magician and its symbolism within the RIder-Waite. What I'm going to do, I'm going to divide this into two parts. It's just to make it more digestible and more palatable. So once again, I would like to come back and mention and highlight, and I think I'm going to do it every single time, to understand the RIder-Waite. We have to look through the eyes of people who created it. The RIder-Waite Tarot Deck came through the order of Hermetic Order of Golden Dawn. The proof is in the pudding. It's all about Hermetic principles. And the RIder-Waite is full, it's jam-packed with Hermetic principles. And Hermetic principles, they not only relate to what the reality is, but also the kind of related to the laws of universe. And another aspect that is very important, and we're going to see time after time after time, it's the Kabbalah, and we're going to see it from the kind of mystic lens, not necessarily the religious lens here. And Kabbalah and Jewish alphabets they're very much imprinted into the RIder-Waite Tarot. So this is important to always bear in mind, to kind of understand the lens and principles and kind of the way of how some of the interpretations that they sit within those two elements. So I'm going to briefly touch on Kabbalah, because I think Kabbalah in general, when it comes to in general, it's just very it's a lifetime, and not always easy to understand if you never came across it, and to understand the philosophy of it, and it's kind of difficult, and that's always easy. So in this case, let's start from the very beginning. So in Kabbalah, we have two things when it comes to tarot. We have a Jewish Hebrew alphabet, to be honest, and then we have how the certain cards sit within the pathways within the tree of life. So the magician, it's being represented by the letter Beth from the Hebrew alphabet. Beth is the first letter that has actual sound, because Aleph had no sound. The way how it's being shaped, it has been interpreted by Kabbalists as a house. They saw it as a house, and they believed that is the physical body in the house of the divine on earth. So whatever we choose to kind of understand as divine, is that going to be a god, the consciousness, whatever we're going to understand as divine. And Beth also is the first letter in the book of Genesis, and is called the beginning. So in a way, the magician is representing the beginning. Actually, it's representing more than this. The reason being is because the magician sits between Kether, the crown, and Binah. So the Kether is this consciousness that is about to, or this divine force that is about to manifest itself into the reality. So it's the Kether is representing, the crown is representing this aspect of out of nothing, something has emerged into the material plane. And the Binah is understood as it stands for understanding. So in this term, magician is representing this principle within the Kabbalism of manifestation. And to be honest, magician, as we're going to see it through and through, is representing manifestation. It's representing our ability to manifest things in the material plane through our own mental capacities, and that is the essence of magician. And on top of that, we're going to see a lot of Hermetic principles, but let me dive straight away to meanings behind the symbols. And we're going to have, in the first part, I'm going to focus on meaning of number 1, double-tipped white wand, the white robe, the red mantle robe, Ouroboros belt, the four elements on the table markings, and the red rose. And I'm going to kind of focus on this one. So in terms of number one, what is number one is representing? The beginning! Like the Beth is representing the beginning. And the beginning is representing, and this is a Roman number, so it's the number one always has been associated with the beginning, the breath of life, the pure energy without form. So once again, that is linking us to the Kether and Binach, where something comes out of nothing and is manifesting itself in material reality. One, it stands for, when you're going to look at the Roman number one, it's very phallic, it's masculine, it's a number of initiation, it stands for the movement, it's standing for self, strong willpower, and decisiveness in all areas. So this Roman numeral one mirrors the symbolism of magician's wand as well, and creates and is representing or showing the channel between the divine source and the material universe. It is emphasizing such a hermetic principles as principle of mentalism, all is in the mind and the universe is mental, and also the principle of correspondence, as above, so below. So in terms of the double tipped white wand, it denotes the pure channel of spiritual wisdom and the clear inspiration. As you can see, the magician is gripping the wand, and this is suggesting to us the firm grasp of both intention and will. And this is very important to emphasize, stress, and that's something that comes purely from me. We quite often forget about our free will and the power of our free will. And magician is quite often, for me, it's representing the free will. It's representing the manifestation of that free will into material universe. So because the wand is double tipped, it kind of works both ways. So you kind of conductor and connector at the same time. So this is representing the us, our will. We have an ability to act as a conduit between the divine source and the material universe. And because it's in a phallic shape of number one, it's very much echoing the number one, right? So it's representing this. We also see the double-tipped white wand into other tarot cards in the world. We see two of them. And then we see the symbolism within the chariot as well. The white robe is underneath the red mantle robe. And the white is representing standing for spirituality within the person. White might be standing for the peace, clarity, illumination, innocence, purity of motive, and actually the highest kind of understanding that one can possess. Also for initiation, because quite often when we're being initiated to something, we are dressed white, so it's representing our purity and our purity of intention. And I always see things from perspective of potential for everything. So I see things in positive and negative aspects because I'm funny like it. So in positive aspects, the white can denote integrity, purity of intention, the hope and faith. And in negative aspects, one's inexperience, ineptness, I would say, and tendency to be easily persuaded. And we can see the white robe symbolism also on other cards, such as strength, the temperance, 4 of wands, 2 of swords, 9 of swords, if I'm not mistaken, 2 of cups. So when it comes to red mantle robe, red is representing the blood, is representing life energy, vitality, passion, will, desire, life in general. But equally can equate to anger, danger, rage, revenge, aggression, and probably like no other color can swing the pendulum quite so broadly across the positive and negative meanings. So red is also, but not necessarily in other cultures, because I know that other cultures like South American cultures, and especially Mexican, Aztec, other shamanic traditions, they see energy points on our bodies in different color. So I'm just going to refer to those. We quite often have the chakra system came from India to us, so I'm going to refer to red as it, and I hope that we're going to make sense to you. So because the red is also the color of the root chakra, it can represent the base instinct for the security and survival. In Aztec, I believe the root chakra is black, if I'm not mistaken. The red color, in positive aspects, is going to denote passion, dedication, the love, the pursuit of one heart's desire, might also showing the worthwhile goals. And negative might represent the egoism, self-interest, vanity, self-seeking, and the controlling behavior. So that is the epitome of Mr. Trickster, basically, because we have a magicians and we have a tricksters, and this is kind of representing trickster. So the red robe can be also found on cards of the Emperor, Hierophant, Justice. We see it in the Tower, we see it on Two of Wands, we see in Four of Wands, and we see also on the Eight of Cups. The Ouroboros Belts. The Ouroboros belt is depicting a snake eating its tail, as we can see. And the snake is another phallic symbol. And so it's representing the action. It's representing inserting energy that is influencing the material universe. Ancient Egypt, the cobra symbolized the divine wisdom, while in Pacific region the snake was viewed or understood as a creator and the figure connected to pregnancy. So this is this element of inserting something coming into material plane. And this is also representing because if you're going to see that snake has like a very strong star, and the star is understand as it connects with the all-seeing wisdom, and in that sense I might be suggesting that magician might be or might be not refuses to look away from uncomfortable truths. And those are comfortable truths because the belt is located in the abdomen region of the solar plexus, and in the East traditions, solar plexus has a very strong spiritual dimension. It's kind of governing the core of our personality and our identity, and survival of the ego. Kind of those two links together. They link together and they talk about ability to see ourselves for who we are. So this is also ability to see one's shadow as well. And the snake and the symbolism of the snake eating itself speaks to the power of reinvention. And this is very much linked with a shamanism as well. In order to become a shaman, obviously there are different type of shamans out there and different type of traditions. However, more often than not, what is happening, the shaman has to die. But what I mean by die, it's almost like unbecome in order to become. And this is kind of ongoing process. Shamans that are giving up the parts of the self, sometimes the parts of the personality, the parts of the beliefs, and they have to unbecome in order to become. And this is kind of ongoing process. And they have to kind of go and emerge themselves within, almost like they have to dissolve themselves. Is the process of dissolving there. So this is kind of what I'm linking this with, because you have to be willing to do that. It's not very pleasant, not very easy, and daunting. And you can ask yourself how many times you can go through that process. What I'm talking about, this is linking to our will and intention, because you have to choose to do that. So in that case, what I'm talking about, that we can shed our skin and grow a new one, so we can change. This is about the personal growth also. This is about being able to become the best version of ourselves. So the 4 elements on the table. The 4 elements on the table, they are linking to the 4 suits: Wands, Swords, Cups and Pentacles. They are linking to 4 elements. There's link there to alchemy and how life came about, but I'm not going to touch on that subject. I think there are people who can do it far much better than I do, explain it. But also the magician is being linked to a form of magic, because magicians, they tend to perform magic. And funny enough, the magician comes from the tribe of people who were called mags, Middle East. I don't remember exactly the region, but however, those people, they were performing magic, and before magic was called magic, they were called mags. Therefore, the art of performing whatever they were performing was called a magic. Without going off the subject on a tangent, let's come back to the 4 elements on the table. They are tools of magic. They represent the dowry of what life is bringing us, or what life gives us, because that kind of links with the Fool, his little bundle, and what he had in his little bundle, not being aware, not being conscious what he was carrying. And magician is very much conscious. Magician knows what he has. Maybe he doesn't know how to use it, but he knows what he has. The wand is representing the will, the sword is representing the intellect, and the cup is representing emotions, the pentacle is representing physicality, is representing the body. Wands and the wand and sword, they're representing they're both phallic in nature, so they're active, masculine, active, while the cup and coin and the pentacle, they're both valvic and feminine, as well as receptive. This is to show the different aspects of the same, and to kind of empathize that the opposites and contrary forces are necessary to collectively create the inner universe, as well the material universe. And this is kind of being, and once again we go back here into we're coming back to the Hermetic principle of polarity, where everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has a pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in the degree. Basically, the magic is happening when the extremes are meeting. So the next element is table markings. When we're going to look carefully on the front edge of the magician wooden table, we will find 3 engraved symbols. I would describe them. The first as the waves of water, the second, that it looks like tongues of fire, and there's also a dove there. The dove that is similar to the one on the Ace of Cups, except that this dove is facing upwards, not downwards. The water is representing standing for emotions and relationships, obviously connects to the cups. Fire signifies the passion, the will, matters of the self, connects with wands. And the dove in this particular case connects to the air, connects with the swords, and symbolizing the realm of ideas. And the way how I see it is that the 4th element, the earth, is contained in the wooden table itself, and the rest is kind of shown as the elements that are playing out in our life. Therefore, once again, this kind of links to manifestation, because in order to manifest something into material realm, the dense material realm, we have to combine our feelings, meaning water, add fire, meaning passion, and the ideas. This is nothing more. The table is representing the manifestation, our feelings, passions, and ideas into the material plane. And that's why the magician is all about the manifestation, because it's not the table is talking about the manifestation. The pose, I'm going to come back to it in a second part, and also the infinity sign is also talking about the manifestation. So this is really all about manifestation. And finally, least but not last, symbolism of red rose. We see red roses above the magician and below the magician. So once again, we are seeing here the Hermetic principles expressing themselves as above, so below. Moreover, and I would like to emphasize on it, because quite often this is being kind of not mentioned at all or bypassed, and my aim actually through the symbolism, I would like to touch on element of laws of universe being brought into the tarot by Freemasons, because the Golden Dawn was founded by Freemasons, and the Freemasons they believe in creation, and the rose is representing the beauty of structural creation. So it's representing the beauty of material universe, and basically is referring to aspects of nature being expressed by the numbers, by mathematics. So it's talking about the mathematical beauty of the nature, basically. And if we're going to take the Fibonacci sequence, or we're going to take the golden ratio, or any other sequences explaining and showing the beauty of the nature, rose is representing this aspect that Freemasons and others as well they saw in the mathematical beauty of the universe. Because on the end of the day, as difficult or as counterintuitive it might seem, all is information, and it's all express itself in a very mathematical information. So nature speaks the language of mathematics, and quite often when we talk about the Hermetic principles, we see them from perspective of purely spiritual knowledge. Actually, it's when we're talking about the laws of universe, we're talking about the physics of universe, the chemistry of universe. We're talking about those wider processes that are taking place, and we're talking about, and I can go if you want me to at some point, into the physics and mathematics and chemistry, which we can see in the laws of being expressed in Hermetic principles, and this is very important to understand. So the rose is representing not only the growth, is only representing the Hermetic as above, so below, but also is representing the mathematical beauty of the nature, and is representing the mathematical aspects of our universe, of our dense, solid universe. I hope you found this helpful as well as entertaining. And if you did, let's catch up in the part 2, where I'm going to go into more depth when it comes to the magician pose, what the table is representing. Once again, we're going to talk about the manifestation and a few other elements there as well. Thank you, and speak to you soon.